Welcome to Backyard Astronomy. Welcome to Dreamworld Observatory. Today we're going to talk about some interesting things. We're going to talk about spacers, extenders, and some oddities. Wonder what that is and what they're for. Come back and we'll see. Okay, welcome back. Now, the other day when we was doing our little video on setup for deep sky imaging, there was a little outline of a way to set up your scope and get it going every time you go out to shoot to eliminate all the hassle. Get it down to where you can get it done quick, get all the big stuff done, and then all you got to do is just set up and go. All right, one of the things on it was number 3, if you remember. It said something to the effect of, let's see. It said, mount the camera in any spacers that you need and then rebalance it. Now, that's what that was all about. It seems that I may not have been real clear about that. The whole deal was trying to discuss at that particular moment was the importance of making sure your telescope stayed balanced. So, now here's what happens with me. Sometimes I want to shoot, well sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to do visual. Sometimes I want to shoot with the same, I'm going to be using this camera. This is a ZWO camera. If I'm going to shoot with this camera, deep sky, I will probably use this camera. If I want to use planetary, I may do something different. I may use the camera, but I'll use a different, I'll use probably a nose piece. But sometimes items fill up the screen too big and you can't capture on your sensor. So what you need to do is move them back. Just a minute, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, basically what we was talking about was I like to use my camera on my telescope multiples of ways. The point that we was talking about was to make sure that if you do anything while you're doing photography, astrophotography, to the photo train, you're going to be putting it out of balance, and it also do something else. I'll mind me and I'll tell you what that is. Now, in this case, it's set up for visual right now. I have everything already set up. I have my mirror locked down. That's another story we'll talk about one day. I've got my mirror locked down, and all I'm using now is for focus is this electric focus that I've got. Now, this is not a stepping motor like you see the expensive one. This is back from the old days. This is just an electric motor. Now, basically what I need to do, I'm going to use this camera. This is a ZWO camera, and I'm going to be using it for all my deep sky. I may even be using it for planetary. Now, let's say I want to use it for planetary right now. All I have to do is I'll put this little adapter back in there, this part right here, in. Now, that's going to give me a nose piece, to be able to put my nose piece on my camera. Now, I can put this right in here, just like this. Now, see what I got here? The other day I mentioned when I put my camera on, my sensor runs this way. What I want is my picture to be wide angle picture, wide spread, and I want it, so in other words, I just line it right up with this, because I got that at 90 degrees above the center of my axis. Now, I'm all set up. Do I have to rebalance it? No, because if you'll look at it, it is pretty much the same thing that's already there. If you remember, I had a 2-inch piece on it to do my astrophotography. Now, I call planetary imaging and astrophotography two different things. They're the same system, just different flavors. Now, if I want to do deep sky, I've got to put this in. And because I'm using a 2-inch focuser here. So what I've got is my camera's already set up to 2-inch. This is the whole way we've been talking about it all the time. Notice I put the camera in there just like we just said. What the heck is wrong there? There we go. Alright, now we're all set. We're going to shoot deep sky. Now, what I was referring to is if we change this, then we'd have to rebalance it. Well, I just showed you to do planetary, it didn't have to, because it's pretty much the same amount of camera was sticking out. And this don't weigh a whole lot right here. But if I want to do, say, let's think about this a minute. I'm doing a ring nebula, what is it, M57? And this camera, this telescope will magnify it pretty good bit. It also magnifies planets a lot. It's an F10, and it's a 10-inch scope. That's about 254 millimeter diameter scope. And this focal length is 2,540 or 2,500 millimeters, which is really 100 inches. Now, in order to make something like Andromeda show up, which now if I was looking at Andromeda with this, all I'd see is the center. I couldn't even photograph it. I got to push it away, so to speak. I got to reduce my focal length on my telescope. Way people do that is sometimes they buy a scope like this, or one a little bit, maybe 120 millimeter, and they got what they call a big wide field and the little images inside of it. Works great for deep sky. Yes, it does. This right here is great for planetary and small items because it magnifies it so much. When we come to the big stuff, you've got to change that focal length. And the way to do that is we're going to put in the thing called a reducer. This focal length reducer and field flattener, goodness. What it does is it fits right in here, and what it actually is going to do is it's going to change our focal length for us. This will change the focal length of our telescope from an f10 to an f6.3. Now, if you'll notice what's happening is the photo plane here is getting very long. Now, what I showed you the other day was all you saw was this sticking out of the telescope, and it's already been balanced for that. But now look at what I'm adding on to it. I'm adding on all this, and this is really very heavy too. So now it'll go in just like this. And I'm going to turn it up because I like my orientation like that. You can do whatever you like. Now, this telescope is out of balance. If I was to unlock this, this whole tail end would come down like this. The way I would balance it, I have a counterbalance right here. I'll unlock it and I'll slide it ever how much it'll bring it. You'll take it, and I will cover this in another video maybe. You can turn it to say 60 degrees, right that way, and unlock it and see if it'll sit there. It should sit right there if it's balanced. That's all you got to do. Okay, that should take care of. It seems that there was some misunderstanding about what I was saying there, and I really. And now, to mention this, like I said, planetary, deep sky would be pretty much the same on this scope as far as weight. If I went to a big item and I need to reduce it down, it's going to cause me a problem, and I have to know how to reduce that down. And that's not a big issue. Other than that, is at the point at number 3 is where you take care of that. Because in the middle of the night, if you switch to a different image and you need to do something like we just discussed, you'll need to know that you're going to have to balance. Is that a big deal? No. If you was using a scope like this back here, you just unscrew the weight a little bit more. Take care of it. unlock the axes and let it sit and see if it sits. If it moves, move the weight some more. That's all you've got to do. You just got to make sure you do it, because when you go to take your pictures, your PhD-2 is going to be trying to drive, and it'll have a whole bunch of excess weight it has to deal with. But when your scope is balanced, you'll be surprised at how easy PhD-2 can operate this telescope. When it's balanced, it's like, works like a champ. Okay. You remember I said it was something else that it would do to your telescope once you change all the weight. Doing that would cause another problem. Do you remember what we have to do in deep sky photography always? Don't remember? Well, you remember your calibration frames? One of those calibration frames is a flat frame. Anytime we go out and we do deep sky photography, and we're going to shoot 2 or 3 items, it doesn't matter what we shoot. Remember, you need to shoot flats. Why do you need to shoot the flats? Because anything in that photo train will have dust on it or whatever. Now, you moving it, changing a piece out. Say you took something out, well, you removed some trash. Suppose you put some more in, like that long tool we put in there. Each one of those pieces could add more stuff. Your flat frames don't have it on it. So when you go do your pictures, you're going to have things on there that you can't get off, can't get rid of. So that was one of the reasons why I told you, no matter what you're shooting from deep sky photography, except for planets, you need to do flats. Now, like I said, if we did that tonight and we switched that train out, we have to do flat. Have to put it back. And you need to make sure you keep up with them. Give them a special name. Give them the name of the image you're doing. And you can put all kinds of things in there to keep up with what you're doing. But I hope that explains what we mean. Is not only back in when we was talking before about calibration, if you change anything in that photo train, you need to have a new flats done. In this case, you still do. If you change anything in this field right here, you've got to do balancing, because you're going to mess it up. Okay, that should take care of it. If it doesn't clear it up, leave me a message down below. Hopefully we've done something. This is the kind of thing you do on a rainy day, and we have a lot of those around here. So this is one of those items. There's 2 or 3 more inside that deep sky setup page that I produced for you that we're going to do a video on. But this right here, someone asked about, so I figured I'd better clear that point up. I hope I did. If you like what you saw, click like below. If this is the first time you've been on this channel, hit subscribe and ring the little bell over to the side. So next time we do a video, you'll get notified. You'll get a little message that we got one. So until next time, clear skies and keep looking up.